assume essentially we've got a bunch of topics on a wheel, which I'm going to bring up here, and we're going to spin the wheel, and whatever topic it lands on, then we do a 10-minute discussion on said topic.
Yes.
We can
Somewhat controversial.
we'll shuffle up right here. That's good. 4 shuffles. Spin the wheel. What are we chatting about?
And you guys could leave us, your ideas for the wheel as well.
Were gaming magazines like Nintendo Power better than today's online gaming media?
That's a good one.
So growing
That's
up
a
with
good
the
one.
Nintendo, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say off the bat, I don't partake in a lot of online gaming media currently. I guess what would that fall into? Maybe I do.
I mean,
Would that be
YouTube.
like YouTube, Instagram,
Yeah.
TikTok, like watching gaming stuff
I would say so.
there?
Yeah.
Would you say that's where you're
Now,
getting your gaming news from? I guess, right, rather than magazines.
Yeah,
well,
it
that's
is.
the thing with this topic is like, are we talking about modern gaming, or are we talking about finding out like retro stuff on new media?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could spin it whatever way we want. I feel
Yeah.
we'll do that. It's retro stuff still, but on the current media
Okay.
rather than back in the day we would find out about the retro games through Nintendo Power.
So we spin it as like, oh, would we prefer magazines back in the day, or if we had internet, would we go towards that?
True.
That's an interesting thought. What do you think, Keith?
I feel like, and I guess I was originally looking at it the other direction, being like back in the day, that was our source for
Mhm.
finding out about games in general, right? And
Right.
nowadays it
Yeah.
comes from like a Nintendo Direct or something like that, right? And they're
Mhm.
coming out
Yeah.
with, "Ooh,
Right.
this is what's coming out," which makes me think like I feel like a Nintendo Power had more information in it than I get from online an online media source now. I feel like there was more work put into it
Okay.
because
Mhm.
there had to be.
Right.
And then when I look at that, I look at even commercials, right? Like looking at
Yeah.
a commercial for a game back then compared to a Nintendo Direct where it's just here's a bunch of gameplay.
Mhm.
Doesn't
And
have
then they
like
talk a little
the
bit about it. Yeah.
creativity behind it
Mhm.
as much, right? I know there's really good writers on some of the current online media stuff, but I feel like back in the day, they had to try really, really hard to get you to buy the magazine when they're just getting ad revenue from you clicking on a website,
Right.
right?
There's
True.
also I see it as like a physical media versus online source.
Right. Right. That could be totally another
You know, because
topic.
when you look at that, like Nintendo powers are gonna allow us to kind of grab that magazine, read it anywhere we go.
Okay.
Now, you could make the same argument for online stuff, but you're looking at it on a phone, you're not really interacting with it. You're not getting that same adrenaline from like getting, I don't know, just something physical to kind of go at your own pace, maybe, so to speak, is
It's almost a physical versus digital situation.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. But
Yeah.
also like the commercials back then, I would say are much better than commercials now for video games. You
oh,
talk about like,
easily.
you talk about, you know, I don't know, budget aside, the I mean, we can name any Nintendo one. I mean, for instance, the Mario one where they're all chanting Mario's name, and it was the announcement for, I believe it was Mario 3, and then they zoom out and it's the whole world, and then you see Mario's face.
Mhm.
Like, you don't get that. Now you just get gameplay. It's kind of generic, and so it's not as
Yeah.
exciting.
It
You know
shows,
that
like, a business person with the Switch and how they can go from a train and then play on the
right.
couch, and you're like, "Okay, I guess, yeah, cool."
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we've kind of it's kind of like movies, right? Like Hollywood's starting to run out of ideas, and they got to make all these reboots, right? And it's
Right.
kind of the same thing. Like we're kind of running out of ideas, and there's no original ideas of. And look, I'm not knocking anybody, but let's just call it for what it is. Those commercials were far superior and much more fun than what they are. I mean, we didn't have CGI, right? So we physically had like the Super Smash Brothers or the Smash Brothers commercial where there were physical people dressed up in costumes as our Nintendo characters beating each other up in a field. Like
Like,
bring that back.
if you can,
True.
Russ, pull up Game Rant. I was just looking over here. Pull up like the Game Rant
That I just type
website,
in
let's
game
say.
rant
I
website.
think
Sure,
just type
sure.
in Game Rant and see what it
Okay.
comes up with. It should be GR, a green or a gray and
I
orange
gotcha.
logo, GR. And just open up their so, like,
Yep.
this would be online media, would be similar to, say, getting a Nintendo Power in the mail. Just click on any of these topics, let's say,
Yeah. We got the new
right?
Assassin's Creed Shadows
Right.
review
Mhm.
right here.
So when we look at this, we've got some information here. We've got a couple pictures. We've got an ad for some AI. We've got an ad for is
There's
that
so many ads
health
on this.
supplements?
Go.
So
Oh god, I clicked that one.
looking at
What is this
that
one?
and then looking at, say, a Nintendo Power, right? And I'm gonna
Right.
flip through this Nintendo Power and I've got, oh, here's an ad and it's for the ultimate power trip. It's a video game related ad. And now I've got all these different things in here that I can look at. Vice Project Doom, it's this one. And then we get deeper into it, and we've got more games. We've got comic strips in here. We've got, letters from people writing in. We've got, oh, here's some the best overall games. I feel like this has so much more energy put into
Yeah.
it and coming out of it than what we just saw with 900 ads for everything under the sun. Um,
Companies are just throwing money at a website.
Right? Because
And it's
they don't need to have really amazing information in here. This information could be the same as 5 other websites
Right.
right.
because they're
This
making money
text
off
here.
all these little pop-up ads everywhere,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
I don't
I
know.
will say this here is would be the one benefit as I got down to the bottom of the page, you can leave comments. So then you can kind of have this interaction back and forth
Yeah.
with people there. But
It
again,
doesn't beat that interaction on the schoolyard, though.
that's what I was gonna say. You got the Nintendo Power. You're bringing to school. You're reading on the bus. Like, oh, maybe you don't have a subscription, Dave. Oh, what's in this month's Nintendo Power? What new games are coming
Mhm.
out? And you're all
Yeah.
looking at that, and like even how Keith said the ads in the Nintendo Power are actually
Right.
cool to look at rather
Yeah.
than these like whatever your search engine was. It's pumping those ads out at you. So
Do you guys think that it would be better if the online ads were gaming related? So they kind of made a very specific type of ad for the game website. Would that make it a little bit more manageable so you can kind of click and stay in the same realm?
I think they would get clicked more because 'cause I'm not gonna
Yeah.
click on the supplement ad that we just saw unless you
All
click it
right.
like rest by accident, right? Like, "Oh, I was scrolling and I clicked it. Now I gotta look at" like, I feel like if it was like, "Oh, here's an ad for a new game coming out," I would be more inclined to look at it,
Right.
right?
Right.
know? But again, they're just getting paid for those ads.
Right.
Why do
It
they have
doesn't
to
have the
work hard?
same charm.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, so let's answer the question. What's what was the actual question?
Were gaming magazines like Nintendo Power better than today's online gaming media? Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, let's also add one thing though, because Russ and I subscribe to Nintendo Force magazine, which is
Yes.
essentially a new version of Nintendo Power magazine, and it's $5 a month, and they send you a physical magazine with a poster
Hmm.
in the mail.
Yeah.
I would totally read that more. And this isn't, you know, be- this isn't nostalgia talking. This is I would rather thumb through that book and see all the pictures and all the articles and all of the you know, like Keith was opening up the Nintendo Power. It has all of those little like supplement topics. And I would rather go through that than kind of go diving onto and let's face it, people's attention spans, in my opinion, and we had this discussion when we were making the website for us,
Yeah.
is like we want it to be concise, to the point, where people could spend 5 to 10 minutes on the website, get their fix, and they're gonna move on. It's just that's just the nature of the beast when
Yeah.
it comes to web design and online, reading of articles and whatever. So it's gotta be you gotta have it right then and there. And I'm not going to GameRant.com to physically looking at oh, there yeah, so
No.
check out the weeklywarpipe.com. But I'm not physically typing in Game Rant. I may see a link from, like, Facebook or Instagram or another social
Right.
media that
And that's the only
promote
reason
that
I found
article.
that. I literally
So there you
opened up
go.
my browser and it pre-populates with a bunch of stuff, right? And
Right.
that was just one thing that popped up when I opened it. That's why I suggested. I've never been to that website in my life.
Yeah. So the only website you guys need to be worried about is theweeklywarpipe.com, and there's gonna be more stuff added. Russ, why don't you just throw it up there one more time? Just let the people know. Theweeklywarpipe.com. Check
Check
it
it out.
out. It's fun. There's a lot of content on there. And pick and choose what you want to do. It's all right there.
Right? It's as good as a Nintendo Power magazine.
Just digitally.